Welcome to It's About Rugby League. Today we're going to do the predictions for this week's Challenge Cup quarterfinals and our 4 big matches, and Richard and Jack here will go head to head with a forfeit for the loser. Jack is very familiar with forfeits, as you can see.
Yeah, this is interesting. This is a women's size 12. I'm not sure, I think it fits me quite snug, so I think I'm a women's size 12 apparently. That's what I've learned from this forfeit. Yeah,
that's quite worrying, but yeah, it suits you.
Thanks.
So Jack and Richard will go head to head this week. You actually lost to Joe a few weeks ago, that's why you're wearing that.
I did, yeah. I don't know why I've signed up to do this again, because, well, on the basis of last time, I'm not very good at predictions. But we'll see how it goes.
The forfeit this time is the loser. With these Subin Leeds fans will go on their own social media profiles and dedicate themselves to another Super League club.
A rival club, yeah.
I'm thinking Castleford or Bradford. I think Castleford, you're liking Castleford, aren't you? So, yeah, that's the forfeit for this week. So it's the person who predicts the least amount right. And it's going to be interesting to see where we go with this, because I think there's probably 2 matches in here where there's a clear winner and then 2 where it's 50-50. So we start off on Thursday with Hull, who've just suffered a rather embarrassing defeat at Magic Weekend to Huddersfield. They host Catalan Dragons. It's the last 2 Challenge Cup winners going head to head. Catalans have actually come into form recently. They're now 3rd in Super League, and they'll go to Hull and look to continue the defence of the trophy. I'll come to you first, Richard. Which way will this one go, do you think?
I'm going Catalans, without a doubt. Why am I going Catalans? They're playing well. They're well placed in the table. I just see a bit of daylight between them and a light Hull that's not too far behind. Westerman's out, Kieran Buchanan's out, Massi Matango's out. Catalans have got Tompkins back.
Yeah, that's big.
Catalans tonked Hull in May, beginning of May.
Yeah.
At Hull. I'm not predicting a repeat 37-6.
Yeah.
It'll be tough. It'll be tighter than that. It's a cup game. Hull are good at cup games. They can raise the game, but I think Catalan are the form team, and I think they'll do.
Oh, well,
I'm going by, and I'd go by about 2 scores, 12 points.
Interesting. Now, on the counter to that, Jack, Catalans, Hull actually normally respond to heavy defeats quite well.
Exactly.
And they did go to the south of France before. Catalans went to Hull and won. Hull went to Catalans earlier in the season and won. So it's actually won a piece this year.
Well, I think Hull myself. I'm going to back the black and whites. I think, like you said, they're good in one-off games. We've discussed that before. I think it's looking like they're going to have Danny Houghton back at the weekend, which I think is very, very big for them.
Yeah.
They were missing him at the weekend. I think they had Danny Washbrook deputising, and they missed his sort of leadership. So I think that'll be back, and it's looking like Beretta Faraimo as well on the left wing is also going to be coming back. So a couple of big inclusions for them. We've mentioned Tompkins for Catalan, but Hull have got their own players coming back, and I think, like you said, there's 2 games really that are going to be hard to choose, and this is one of them. But I'm thinking Hull will just about edge it.
I'm liking this because I worried you might predict the same results, but just to save yourselves, it might have been a pact before. But on Friday night, Hull's city rivals KR host Warrington. Now, the Wolves got a very good win against Wigan at Magic Weekend, but they did lose the week before to FC. I'll come to you first on this one, Jack. Do you think Warrington will be too strong?
I do. For me, obviously we can never tell who's going to end up in the final because we've got the draw next in the semis, but I think it could easily end up being a Warrington Saints final. I think those are the 2 best teams. Again, we've discussed before how those 2 are leading the pack in terms of Super League, and I just see Warrington being having way too much quality for KR. I think Blake Austin is the man of the moment at the minute. Him and Det Patton played really well at the weekend, and really seem to complement each other at the minute. So I think Warrington will win that pretty comfortably.
Yeah. So again, on the counter to that, Richard, Hull KR have actually they've been in pretty decent form of late. They beat Salford in the last round quite convincingly. They beat Salford at Magic Weekend, and we talked earlier about them having pretty good players within that squad that perhaps haven't lived up to expectation yet this season. Now, is this the game that they will produce their best and maybe turn Warrington over?
No. Simple as that.
Not
No.
a waste of time.
We've got relegation zone between second top,
Yeah.
and I'm fairly confident that Warrington will run out at the end of the season as runners up in the league. I said earlier that yes, I think Hull KR have got more potential than what they're playing, or what the points they've got and the way that they're winning. They've got the home advantage of Hull KR. Have they got enough? Can they dig deep? No, they're just not good enough. And I'm predicting a Warrington Wolves win. It was Wolves Tonkton 54-6 back in April, beginning of April. What's changed? Warrington have only lost 4 games this season. KR haven't won more than 4 games in the league this season. They won 5, I think. So I'm going hands down Warrington Wolves by a big margin.
Well, talking of big margins, I think quite a lot of people will be predicting another big margin on Saturday when St Helens host Wakefield. Wakefield themselves edged out at Magic Weekend by Catalans. St Helens just pretty much look unbeatable at the moment. It seems that they can win pretty and win ugly. Do you think they'll run away with this against Wakefield?
Yes, they only lost once away to Catalans in April. I can't see St Helens losing in the regular season at all.
Really?
I can see them. No, I can see them losing when it gets to the playoffs, when it gets to the Challenge Cup final. I can't see anyone. For me, they're going to be in the Challenge Cup final. It is as simple as that. And until then, because we have seen them bottle it before, when it's come to big games, when it's come to the end of the season, I always liken the season to. It's not quite a marathon, but it's not a sprint. It might be a 15,000 metre race. And you watch a 15,000 metre race, and usually them that's miles away get caught up right at the end by someone who's just paced themselves and had a bit of a sprint finishing them just to get over that line. And I know St Helens have made that mistake of being miles out quite a few times in the last 10 years, and they've got pipped at the post. But apart from that, I can't see them losing in the regular season. So hands down, St Helens. I think Trinity will give them a good go. I don't think it'll be a 50-0 or anything daft like that.
Yeah.
I think it'll be they'll work to Wakefield. They're playing some good rugby, and on the day they can beat a lot of sides. I don't think they'll beat St Helens on Saturday.
Okay, strong opinion there, Jack.
Exactly the same, yeah. Saints are looking way too strong. Again at the weekend they were superb against Castleford, and they've just got all the combinations right really. They've got Fage and Lomax in the halves, working well with Lockencoot as well. I think he's one of the buys of the season without a doubt. And yeah, they're just way too strong I think for Wakefield. I could even see them doing the treble this season, if I'm being honest. I really could. But yeah, I think they'll win fair. Like Richard said, I don't think it'll be a landslide victory, but I think they'll be pretty comfortable.
Yeah. So we're only disagreeing on one so far. We come to the final game on Sunday. A bit of a glamorous cup tie this. All Championship quarter final. So we're going to have a Championship team in the semi-final. Bradford, after their heroics against Leeds, take on Halifax, who have actually, since Richard Marshall's departure, have actually come into some good form in the league. Beat Bradford recently as well. I'll come to you first, Jack. Tough game to call.
Very tough. I think this is going to be the tie of the round, if I'm honest. I think you've got two teams there that this is for a Championship team to get to the semi-finals is again almost unheard of. It doesn't happen too often. So these two have got a cracking opportunity here to do something really big for their season, and it is really tough to call because both teams, like you said, Halifax have come into good form of late, but can be inconsistent. Bradford again inconsistent, but we saw how well they played against Leeds, and how spirited that was. if they can replicate that same sort of energy and enthusiasm like they did against Leeds, then I think they'll take it. But Halifax are a team with a lot of quality, and it's a really tough one. I think I'm still not decided, but I think I'm probably going to go with, I'll go with Bradford. I think they're going to, well, I'd probably best go with Bradford since I'm wearing their shirt at the minute.
Bradford fan.
We're not saying that. But I'll go with Bradford because I think they'll see the Challenge Cup as a real trophy event. Even if they don't win it, if getting to the semi-finals then would be so big for their season, especially on the back of the Leeds win. So I think if they can replicate that same energy and enthusiasm, like I said, then they'll get the win.
Richard, Bradford for you?
Yeah. When I set off thinking about it, I put question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark, because it is that close. We've got two teams here, 7th and 8th in the league, both with 16 points, 7th and 8th by virtue of points scored difference. That's all. As Jack says, we've seen Bradford play. If I was a Bradford fan, I'd be well proud of how they performed against Leeds. I thought they were brilliant. They were up for it. They've got home advantage, and good as Halifax are, and even though you can't put a sig paper between them, I think that home advantage and that big crowd at home, because they will get a big crowd, will push Bradford over. But I think it'll be a match to watch. It's like the Leeds Bradford one was in the last round.
Yeah.
It might not be the top quality or the best quality, but it was the best to watch for a neutral. And I think, like Jack says, that Bradford Halifax one could be the tie of the round. The other one's the foregone conclusions for me.
Right. Well, interesting. So it all comes down to Thursday night, then we'll have to
Holy Catalan.
We could have just cut the video short and done that. But yeah, a big week of Challenge Cup games coming up, guys. Let us know your predictions in the comments, and we'll let you know how the forfeit goes on for one of these two next week. Don't forget to like and subscribe.